Welcome back to the Auction Car Reconditioning channel. I'm Brian. As you can imagine, I do get a lot of questions, and some of the popular questions are, hey Brian, I have this project coming on this weekend. What is the best fill in the blanks to correct it, to make it shine, to remove swirls, to remove scratches? So I'm going to do something that I think will be beneficial to all of you out there, and I'll do a series that is a best of each category. I'll do the top 5 for each category, and we'll do cutting compounds, we'll do all-in-ones, we'll do one-steps, we'll do finishing polishes, we'll do pads, we'll do polishers, we'll do shampoos, we'll do anything within the detailing industry that you want to. If you have a category that you would like me to cover and give you my top 5, mention it down in the comment section, please. Now, this is just my opinion in my area, in my environment, with the results that I'm looking for my customers. So this is going to vary from person to person, from region to region. So I just wanted to let you know that. Today we're going to start off with cutting compounds. Now, I have to tell you, within the last year or two, we've been using cutting compounds less and less and less, mostly to spot correct the worst areas. And that's because of the transitioning from solvent-based to water-based clear coats, which are going to be thinner and softer. So you don't want anything aggressive, ultra-aggressive, unless you really have a problem. You really have a troubled clear coat where the owner wants that brought back to looking really, really good and quickly. So you want to reach for a cutting compound then, to get results done quickly and effectively, keep your overhead low, and keep the time you're working on your car down so you have more time to enjoy it, if that makes sense. So, we still do, however, use a cutting compound probably on a daily basis, but it's becoming less and less and less, but they're still important. You should still have one in your arsenal. I'll give you my top 5, and another thing that I need to make you understand, the difference between a lot of these products and tools that I'm going to be mentioning in this series is very little. There's very little difference. Just 1 or 2 small things that I may enjoy or that I may think that differ from one product to another, but it's very, very close. And these can be really in any order, but I'll give you 5 up to my top product for each category, and do with that information what you may. Let's get started. Okay, number 5 on my list will be the CarPro ClearCut Rapid Cut Compound. Now this is $31.99, and this happens to be a 500 milliliter container. This makes my top 5 because of the fact of how well it turns transparent or translucent while you're working it. So you can see through the polish, which are normally yellow or blue or white. So you can keep track of how you are correcting and what you're doing. As you make a pass and you go back and forth, it turns clear so you can see through, and you can see if the swirls and the scratches are disappearing, if that makes sense. It does have a decent cycle time. It's not the longest cycle time or work time. Guys, cycle time is how many times you go back and forth and do passes with the polish before it starts to dry out, dust, and just become ineffective. This one's okay. This one's average. The wipe off is okay. It's not really hard to wipe off. It's not crazy oily, which is important to a lot of you out there. Some of you do not like really oily polishes where they don't bother me so much. The ClearCut is not an oily polish, and it's easy to work with. But because it's easy to work with, then your cycle time is going to go down a little bit. So this is going to be a no fillers type of compound. You can use the dual action polisher and the rotary and team up with this compound. You can use wool, microfiber, or foam pads to do your cutting. Now you do want to team all of these up with a certain type of cutting pad for your polisher, whatever your taste is. If you like wool to cut, you can do that. You can use that with the CarPro ClearCut. If you like foam cutting pads to cut, It'll work fine. Some of these will mention that they're only, recommended with certain types of polishers and pads, but I can tell you, all of these you're going to be able to use with all types of polishers and pads. They just be maybe a little bit more effective with one polisher type and pad type compared to another. 3 out of the 5 are going to use the alumina oxide abrasives, and these are tough abrasives that are a little bit rigid and uniform and break down as you use the product. So your first 2 or 3 passes are going to give you a nice cut and shave that or exfoliate that clear coat and start removing some of the damaged swirls and scratches. And then as you work it, the abrasives roll over, round off, and you get more of a smooth finish to give you a nice, shiny, reflective surface that has a little bit less haze. Now, all of these on certain clear coats, like medium to soft, will leave a haze behind where you're going to have to grab another finishing polish or one step or something or jeweling polish to finish down and remove that haze. So just wanted to let you understand that. This one here, along with some of the others, and I'll mention those as we get to them, on hard clear coat, you can do your cutting step and it will be clear enough with no haze that you might be able to get away with just this one step. A lot of these polishes are technologically advanced enough that you can do that. Now on medium and soft clear coat, there will be a haze left behind where you need to finish it down, or you're going to get that that picture you see on Facebook and all your social media pages where the car comes in the sun and you see all of these marks up and down. That's mostly a really aggressive compound, a rotary polisher with an aggressive wool pad, and they just don't know how the hell to finish down from there, or maybe they just don't want to. These can do that, but a lot of them on hard clear coat, you might be able to get away with just one step. So again, number 5 for me is going to be the CarPro ClearCut Rapid Cut Compound Next Gen Tech No Dusting Compound for $31.99. I believe you can see my furry shop manager has joined us here on this venture. That will take us to number 4 on the list, and that for me is going to be the Sonax CutMax. Now this is a cutting compound, and they do make an ultra version of this that is just a little bit more aggressive. It's really kind of hard to see the difference between the two, so I just normally just go with the CutMax anyways. That's number 4 on the list for me. The cycle time, just like the CarPro, is average because it's not so oily, and those that don't like oily compounds, this will fall into that category, easy to work with. You just can't do quite as many passes. The cycle time or the open time isn't quite as long. I'll explain why I like the more oily, really long cycle or open times when I get to them, and they're going to be in upcoming as we get closer to the top of the list. This has a cut, 6 out of 6, and then 3 out of 6 for finish. This size here, which is 1,000 milliliter, is $59.99, and it boasts that it can remove 1,200 grit sand marks, depending on the pad that you team up with this compound. A lot of these are going to be in between 1,000 grit and 1,500 grit sand marks that they can remove, which isn't a whole lot of difference. It's impressive that it can do that, but they're all going to be between 1,000 and 1,500 grit sand marks. This one here you can use with rotary polishers and dual action polishers, low dust, easy to wipe off. Let me see, pads. This one here you could team up with a wool pad on a rotary and you'll do some quick cutting. You can also team this up with a foam pad or even a Eurofiber 50/50 pad on a dual action polisher, and the longer throw that it has, the quicker work it's going to get done. If you have a 21 millimeter throw on a dual action polisher and you use a microfiber cut pad, you're going to be doing some serious work. This one here, I haven't grabbed too much lately. I used to grab this a lot back in the day until some of the 3D polishes came out. But it's still on the cart, and I still keep a bottle there for the boys or the employees that enjoy it. There's one here, one of our part-timers that enjoys this the most. He likes a less oily compound, one easy to wipe off, low dusting, low maintenance. So this would be his preference. But it makes my top 5 at number 4. This one here also has the aluminum abrasive, the aluminum oxide abrasive, and those abrasives are the most popular because of their consistent size and shape, and they work together and break down together. Some of these other ones will have different abrasives, but that is why that is the most common abrasive in most of these compounds, and it's the cheapest and it's the plentiful to get and order when you're putting a formula together. So number 4 for me again is the Sonax CutMax. All right, let's get to number 3 on my list, and that is going to be a product from 3D. Now, I don't use a whole lot of products from 3D. I don't use their pads, but I absolutely love 3 or 4 of their, or maybe even 5 of their polishes that it would be hard for me to do without. So it's crazy that out of a whole product line, I only use 4 or 5, and to me, if they were taken away, I'd be pretty pissed off. So number 3 on my list here is going to be the 3D AAT 501, and this is the adaptive abrasive technology. What does that mean? Out of the bottle onto your pad, the abrasives are real rigid and spiky and aggressive to do some cutting on that first and second pass. And then they adapt. So as you're working the compound, these round off and break down as a whole, uniform, to give you excellent cut, and then out of that first pass, or maybe even 2, and then as you keep using it, it will give you a real decent finish, and only on the softest of clear coats will you need to do a second step to get rid of a haze from the AAT. That's why this is a must, not number 1, but a must in my detailing arsenal. This one here can be used with any polisher, rotary, dual action, orbital. You can use it with wool, microfiber, or foam pads to cut. I like to team it up with microfiber and the Eurofiber 50/50 pad. If I'm using this, it's going to be on a clear coat that is really not hard and stubborn, maybe medium to soft, and I don't need quite all of aggressiveness. Now, it can get aggressive. That first cut, that first pass or 2, as you're going back and forth, we'll be able to remove 1,000 grit sand marks and coarser, and it does a great job. This doesn't have a crazy long cycle time. This one isn't as oily as, say, 3D1 or 3D ACA 500. So those that want to try 3D but don't want something as oily, this one here would fit into that category. So this size here, which is 32 ounces, you're looking at about $49.99, and worth every single penny to me. The Koch-Chemie and the 3D line, they're up there when it comes to price. All of them are starting to get up there, but these have already been quite pricey. But it is what it is. If you want results, you'll pay for them, right? All right, so that is going to be number 3 on my list. Again, this is the 3D AAT 501. When it comes to aggressiveness, my top one is going to be here, and this one will be just slightly below it, because the abrasive does a wonderful job breaking down uniform so you can get an excellent finish on medium to softer clears. Number 2, we're getting there, guys. Number 2 is going to be Koch-Chemie H902. This is version 2 of their H9 or red label cut compound. This is a heavy cut. So out of 9, they have this rated 8 out of 9 for cut, and 8 out of 10 for cut, and 6 out of 10 for finish. This little container here is $23.99, and this is able to remove 1,200 grit sand marks or coarser, and you can also team this up with a rotary or dual action polisher, and you can team it up with wool, foam, or microfiber cut pads. So if any one of those are your go-to, this will work with them. This is a low dust formula. The cycle time is okay. Again, this is not quite a real oily compound, water-based. The ones that aren't extreme long cycle time and don't have an oily feel to them, and it's hard to wipe off, they're going to be water-based. And this is water-based right here, and this will be easy to work with. This claims to have a homogeneous abrasive grain, which means the particle of grain is uniform throughout the formula, which gives you consistency. So out of all the ones I'm showing you in this top 5, this is probably the most consistent when it comes to cut, whether it's on a soft, medium, or hard clear coat. And then finally, this gives a pretty damn decent finish for your cut, meaning not a whole lot of haze, some, especially on soft clear, but not a whole lot of haze to clean up when you're done with the cutting process. So this is number 2. Time for number 1 on the list. This has been a staple in my detailing arsenal for quite some time. And yes, I know there are newer compounds out there. I need more than just a handful of corrections with some of these newer ones to really get a feel for it. I need to use them on all types of clear coats. Asian soft clear coats, thin, water-based, your commercial vehicles where they have that diamond coat hard clear or single stage to them. I need to use them on both single stage and clear coats. So I'll need time for some of those newer ones, because I know some of you are going to go down in the comment section and say, what about this? It just came out, it's new. I just need a little bit more time with them, and then they may fit into my top 5. But for ones where I have years and years with them under my belt and I know what they can do with my eyes closed, my number 1 is going to be 3D ACA 500. This has the alpha ceramic alumina abrasives, and this is absolutely fantastic. Now, I teamed this up mostly with a wool pad. This is the extra cut compound, and when I get a clear or a single that has lots of swirls, that is a vehicle that's been through the car wash every single day because they got to take advantage of that car wash pass, and it's been just ground to what. I reach for this. I reach for a wool pad. I go for the rotary, and I get this first step done. Now, when I use this, I know there's pretty much, you're going to need a finishing step. You're going to need a last step. It's very rare you're going to be able to do the cutting process with this, and there won't be a little bit of a haze left behind. But this gets to the point, it cuts to the chase, however you want to put that, and gets that cutting step done so you can move on, be efficient, and be profitable, especially if you're doing this for a living. If you're doing this on your own car, you can cut that time down working on it, just like, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and you have more time to enjoy your vehicle. So we have 32 ounces, and you're looking at $59.95, $59.99, and the alpha ceramic alumina abrasives, guys, and they set apart from the others because of their rigidness. Their sharp, angled rigidness on the outside of their abrasive grain that holds up and doesn't break down quite as quick as these others that I mentioned makes this one of the most aggressive yet easiest to work with. So this is a little oily. This is a little leaning towards your 3D polish, where the cycle time is long, and you can work this as long as you want to. There's sometimes I can do a few passes to do cut, and I'll swap to a different pad on my polisher, come back and still use the same stuff that I've been working with on the first couple passes, and it does a wonderful job finishing down. I just absolutely love this stuff, and I couldn't promote it more. I've never been, this is crazy. Obviously, when you're doing YouTube, you're going to be, if you do a video on a certain product or even a product of that company, they're going to reach out, they're going to send you stuff, they're going to want to talk to you, they're going to want to promote you, they're going to want to sponsor you. I've never talked to anybody within that company within all the years that I've been doing. I think I had this channel going 7, 8 years now, and I've never had a conversation with anybody from 3D. I really don't need to, because I know what works for me within their product line, and this has been a staple in my arsenal for years, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to knock it off the pedestal. And one thing that in the back of my mind, should I stock up on it because it's been sold, the company's been sold and purchased and under different management now, I don't know how many times. Please do not change this formula. This is my number one. This is 3D ACA 500. This is the extra cut compound. I hope that helps, guys. I often get questions, what can I use for this? I have a project coming up, what can I use for that? This series you can use as a library to come back to, and you don't have to wait for me to find some extra time to respond. Your answers will be right here in this series, so I hope it helps. I would also like you to add, if yours hasn't been in my top 5 or on the list, put it down in the comment section, because it may be one that I enjoy, but because they're so closely grouped together and hard to tell apart, it just didn't make my top 5. This has been Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning, and I'll catch you in the next video.